Okay, guys, let's continue. This is the third and final part of President Trump signing the executive orders. So far, he's done a fantastic job. So let's see where he goes from here.
It did, but they didn't exactly run it well. It run viciously and badly. So you can't have that.
Mr. President, on TikTok, sir, do you pause any decision on Chinese tariffs until you know what the resolution on TikTok will be? Are those things
No,
connected
if
at all?
China didn't approve it, we could put tariffs on China. Don't forget, China charges us tariffs, and we charge them very little, except for what I did. I put a lot of, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. But until I came along,
Going after those tariffs again. He's going right for the Democrats' jugular.
China never paid 10 cents to this country. They ripped us off, and they never paid anything. But like, if we wanted to make a deal with TikTok and it was a good deal, and China wouldn't approve it, then I think ultimately they'd approve it because we'd put tariffs on China. Maybe. I'm not saying I would, but you certainly could do that. And if we said, well, if you're not going to approve it, then that's a certain hostility, and we'll put tariffs of 25, 30, 40, 50%, even 100%. And if we did that, I think they'd approve it.
President Trump, you've seen the other living presidents a couple times in the last few
I love the way that Trump sends China and other countries messages via the American press, the media. He just throws it out there. They're listening.
months. If you ever had to call on one of them for advice about anything that's going on here, which one would you call?
It's an interesting. Well, I thought Bill Clinton was a very good politician. I don't think he was used properly. I think they disrespected him. When Hillary was running, he came back and he said, you know, you better get up to Michigan and Wisconsin. You remember that, Peter? Every house has a Trump sign on it. And they all left.
You know, I wasn't much of a Clinton fan, but as far as being a politician, he was a good politician. Not that I agreed with anything he said, but just his fundamentals and abilities to get things done, he did.
Left at him because the Republicans hadn't won Michigan or Wisconsin for decades, long time. And they all laughed at Bill Clinton. Like, the hell does he know? And he turned out to be right because I won both of them. And then we just won both in this election, too. We won Wisconsin and Michigan and every other swing state. We won all the swing states, all 7. They talked about 7 swing states. We won them all. So, but Bill Clinton he had a great.
This is the thing about Trump. He's swung all the way around, and he's talking about Clinton, and he's talking about he's won the 7 swing states, and he'll just keep talking about things that he wants to keep pounding to the American people through the media. But he'll come back around it. That's just his style.
Political sense, I think.
You looked like you were having a good conversation with President Obama at President
I
Carter's
was.
funeral.
And you'd like to know what it was? Oh. Everybody wants to know. I know, I wouldn't want to, but we were having some crazy conversation. Why do you asking a question like that? I don't think you want to know. You might not.
Tell us what you just signed.
You might be insulted.
It's an executive order relating to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. This next one, sir, is a declaration of a national energy emergency.
That's a big one. You know what that allows you to do? That means you can do whatever you have to do to get out of that problem. And we do have that kind of an emergency.
President Trump, at some point will you use your powers of the presidency to tell Americans who are concerned about drones?
Yeah.
A few weeks
Good.
ago,
Yeah.
what exactly
I will.
happened? Can you tell us now?
In fact, I'd like to know because I just got here.
What do you think?
I just came here. I've been here for what, 15 minutes now.
Do people listening, because this is going out loud.
And I got to read this letter too. Because of you, I found this letter.
I can read it for you.
It's interesting. Yeah, I know you would. Your father would too.
But is it anything these drones? Is it anything that people need to be worried
No,
about?
I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of?
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay? Yeah, why don't we find out? Immediately. I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, you know, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting.
And with the events today and yesterday, was everything moved inside just for cold weather, or was there some kind of security concern?
No security, because they had everything shut down to drones. You know, you can shut that down pretty easily if you're sophisticated. They're very sophisticated, these people. No, it was just cold weather, and we made a good move because, first of all, I thought it was incredible in the Capitol today. You know why I liked it? Because I got great reviews on that speech. I got great reviews. Can you believe it? They actually were fair.
This is
Maybe the fake news is changing.
unleashing energy production.
Yeah, unleashing energy production. But I thought it was, I think having it in the Capitol is great. It's obviously, you can take care of the people you have to take care of. The city was booming. And if we would have done it outside, people would have been hurt because it was really cold. You know, it was like, looked sunny. But when you stood outside for 10 minutes, people were running back in. It was really cold and really windy. The wind brings it down a lot. So we made the right decision. You couldn't have stayed, I don't think you could have had it out. You know how cold it was today. It was, people went out for a little while just to test it. They couldn't stay out more than 10 minutes. They all came back in. So we would have had a disaster if we did that, and people would have been hurt.
President, the unlawful disclosure, EO, is that related to the Hunter Biden situation?
Which one?
The one on law?
Another thing I love about Trump, you know, a lot of politicians would say, no, we just decided to come in. But Trump, he just goes on and on and on into detail why they decided to come inside. You know, it was so cold. People went out there and said it was too cold, and on and on and on. So he makes it kind of like sound like story time. He just, he's very to the people.
Lawful disclosures by federal officials, is that related to?
No, I think it's just more general than that. It's not Hunter Biden. I was surprised that President Biden would go and pardon his whole family, because that makes him look very guilty. You know, I could have pardoned my family. I could have pardoned myself, my family, and I said, if I do that, it's going to make me look very guilty. I don't think I'd be sitting here, frankly. If I did that, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now, because I would have shown that you're guilty. But by pardoning his brother or brothers, by pardoning all of those people that he pardoned, by pardoning J6, the Unselect Committee, they destroyed all of the documents. They deleted all of the information. There's no information. And a lot of the information pertains to Nancy Pelosi because she was given 100, I mean, you know this, it's on tape with her daughter. Nancy Pelosi was responsible for not taking advantage of 10,000 soldiers or 1,000. You wouldn't have you could have used 400. It was a relatively small crowd. It wasn't the crowd that was at the mall. It was a small crowd. So I was a little bit surprised that he did it, because it makes him look guilty. I mean, he's going to have to live with it. Now, with that being said, it's unbelievable precedent it creates for a president. But the precedent is unbelievable. Now maybe every president that leaves office, they're going to pardon every person they ever met, so they don't have some lunatic like deranged Jack Smith, who's a total lunatic, by the way. Not a smart guy either, he's a dummy. But we beat the hell out of him, and I helped my reputation.
Do you think you'd have to do the same thing at the end of this term?
Well, I guess now I have
Jack Smith, he's a total lunatic. Yeah, Trump gets his point across, doesn't he?
precedent to do it. I wouldn't want to do that. No, I think it makes you look very guilty. I think it makes Biden look very bad, very weak, and very guilty. And I mean, he pardoned everybody. How about this J6 committee? Why is he pardoning them? The reason is because if you delete and destroy documentation, everything, they have nothing, because they were guilty as hell. They rigged it. It was a rigged deal. And when you do that, they look very bad. But I was a little surprised he did it. Liz Cheney, I mean, she's a lunatic. And she lost by the greatest
Oh, Liz, she's a lunatic.
margin in the history of a politician running for Congress, like 40 points. The reason it was the greatest is because anybody losing that
Liz lost by 40 points. He just sticking the old stick in her eye.
badly is going to drop out. But she's a nut job. She doesn't drop out. You know, she just keeps chugging forward. And she lost by almost 40 points. That's the biggest number anybody's ever lost by. But why would Biden do that? He pardoned her and pardoned everybody. The reason is that they destroyed documents. And if you're even in a civil case, which this wouldn't be, I mean, people go to jail for a long time for doing that. What's this one?
That's unleashing American energy, sir. It relates to easing permitting processes and other regulatory systems to ensure that we can produce energy efficiently to drive the American economy forward.
President Trump, looking around the office, we noticed some changes from the way the Biden had it set up. Can you confirm that you have added back the Diet Coke play?
I think this, first of all, I just got here. So my people came in. They have extraordinary decorator sense, right? Let me just see some of the pictures. That's a good one. I could live with him. I could live with George Washington, I can tell you. I could live with Thomas Jefferson. I could live with most of them. They took a very safe route. They don't have any bad ones up there.
Withdrawing from
What
the
is this one?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir.
Ooh, that's a big one. So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.
How many other politicians would dare cut off the World Health Organization, WHO? I mean, Trump just does it, doesn't he? Well, he does it, and he'll tell you here, but it's because we're paying over $500 million a year to be in the World Health Organization or to back them up, supplement them. And China is only paying $39 million. So we're paying multiples times more than China. Yet China has three times as many people as we do. That's kind of a crock, isn't it?
We have 350 to pay. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million, we were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered me to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but you know. And when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you could have come back.
You know, American politicians seem to never stop to think that the money that they're giving away to other countries was all paid for off the backs of the American worker. This money goes out to different countries. And I see America's well off, and we need to help other third world countries and other countries, but at some point it's just unfair. But the biggest point is politicians just don't seem to ever care. They don't have a finger on the pulse of our budget. I mean, you can just give away to the point where you just can't give anymore. It's almost like politicians are always voting themselves in another pay raise. And how many days can politicians, federal workers take off? I mean, every other day they're taking off. Try that to the guy on the street that's got a small business. He's working every day and weekends.
For 39 million. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens. Pretty sad though, think of it. China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
Mr. President, you spoke about inflation today in your remarks. What actions are you taking today that will have a direct impact for Americans on their everyday costs to bring the cost down?
The biggest thing and factor for inflation is energy. They screwed up my energy policy, and then they went back to it. You know, they heard it really
They screwed up my energy policy, and then they went back to it.
badly, and then they went back to it, and they started drilling more, but by that time it was too late. Many of these things that we're signing and that Doug Burgum is going to be signing, and Chris Wright, who's phenomenal, Energy, Department of Energy. We're going to be taking we're going to make a lot of money from energy. We have more than anybody else. We're going to make a lot of money from energy. We're going to make a lot of money from tariffs. European Union charges us, they have a VAT tax of 20%, but it's really much higher than that. And that's the equivalent, almost the equivalent of a tariff. And they're tough. They're very tough. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take almost anything. And yet we take their cars and we take their farm product. We take a lot from them. So, we have like a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. So we'll straighten that out with either tariffs or they have to buy our oil. The one thing they can do, our oil and gas, the one thing they can do to catch up quickly, buy our oil and gas.
Will you travel?
And they should do that.
Will you travel to China this year?
Yeah, it could be. I've had the invite.
Mr.
President Xi
President,
invited
I would
you
do it,
to
yeah.
come this
I
year.
would do it.
talking about the European Union and the tariffs, like, what do you mean when you say that the European Union can like make this part of BRICS?
That are what?
BRICS. You said
Oh, BRICS. No, I was talking about BRICS. BRICS are 6 nations. I think it's 7 nations. And they were looking to do a number in the United States. And if they do that, they won't be happy about what's going to happen to them.
Are you still considering a universal tariff?
I mentioned this earlier, but BRICS is a group of countries that got together for economic reasons, and the two big guys in it is China and Russia. But it was all about screwing America. So Trump's just making it plain to them, you do that, and you're going to pay a price.
President on all countries?
I may, yeah, but we're not ready for that yet. We may wrap it,
Mr. President.
because essentially all countries take advantage of the U.S.
This
We
is-
don't make any good deals in the U.S. It's amazing in a way that we exist. We don't make good deals. We don't have any good deals. We have a deficit with almost, not all, there are a couple, I won't tell you their names because I don't want them to find out about it because they'll feel stupid. But there are a couple of countries that actually don't make money with us. But I don't want to let you know because they'll immediately change that. But we're gonna do, I tell you what, our country has an amazing economic future. I really believe that.
What kind of universal tariff if you did do one?
Well, you'd put a universal tariff on anybody doing business in the United States because they're coming in and they're stealing our wealth, they're stealing our jobs, they're stealing our companies, they're hurting our companies. So you put a tariff on to keep them from doing that.
Mr. President, you surround yourself with a whole bunch of billionaires today. President Biden has in his farewell address warned about oligarchy. I'm wondering if you can respond to that.
Well, he had a lot of guys, and then they found out that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about, and I think they deserted him. They deserted him, those same guys. Look, I don't make pretenses, smart guys, but there are a lot of smart people around, but they did desert him. They were all with him, every one of them. Now they're all with me, I don't know. It's not gonna get anything from me, I don't need money. But I do want the nation to do well, and they're smart people, and they have, they create a lot of jobs. And if they don't do it, China's gonna do it. What they've done is they've taken industries and they've taken it away. They outsmarted China. And, we sort of like that. It's okay. They've done a great job. A lot of them, not all of them.
Protecting women from radical gender ideologies.
Ooh.
Mr. President, going back to the World Health Organization, you were the president during COVID. Don't you see the importance of organization like that to coordinate a global response? in
Sure,
case-
I do, but not when you're being ripped off like we are by the World Health. World Health ripped us off.
Getting ripped off by World Health Organization, WHO.
Everybody rips off the United States, and that's it. It's not going to happen anymore. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, guys, let's go.
Well, there you go, guys. That concludes our third part of a 3-part series, which is basically just covering Trump signing his executive orders. He went through a ton of them. But anyways, this last part, I was just kind of going along with him and listening to him, and he said some great things. But if you agree with what I said, put it in the comments. If you disagree, put it in the comments. And if you could do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe, that would be super. See ya.